Samsung is kind of like the de facto Android device maker at this point. Google, I'm sure, would love it.
I'm the neighborhood watch.
They just don't have the reach. They don't have the scale.
I think it's two things, in a way. Like, he has this huge responsibility to make Facebook a big thing, but what he really wants
a little
to do
bit
is build like
spill
a
over
cool
here
virtual
with
world
the
and not
Gorilla
like deal
Glue.
with any of the problems of Facebook. So I don't know. I'm of two minds about like his sense of responsibility around this stuff. But this looks cool. Last year I talked about Facebook Horizons, which is a similar thing. It's kind of in this family of virtual worlds, but that's meant to be like a VR playground. And the big issue there was, hey, there's no way like police safety or make sure people are being safe and not harassed, and Facebook didn't really have mechanisms
I'll
for
just
community
wipe
control. This one is just a focus slice
it.
of people in meetings. It's a couple of folks in meetings. If somebody is being a jerk to you and harassing you for some reason, like if you are guessing into something, you can report them. That's cool. But it's not like a big virtual world. It is a self-contained room where you can just sit and chat with people. So it's a small start, but I think it's really cool. And yeah, if you
what is? Because you're gonna stuck. Wash your hand. That's glue. That's I say. Come over here. Don't touch. It's a glue. Wash with a hot water. Are you doing with a what's name? It's a gorilla. You have to be careful. Don't touch with a finger. That's I say. Bring me over here.
Yeah, I got it in my hand. Sticky.
Well, I just say to you, if with a paper gonna stick. That's glue.
Now, I am really happy that Samsung continues to push forward the foldable because we are desperate for these new looks and.
Hello world, welcome back to the Waveform Podcast. We're your robots, I'm Marquez.
What is happening? And I'm Andrew.
And in today's episode, we're talking, we just got Samsung's Unpacked event this week, so we're going to talk a lot about my real thoughts on the Z Fold 3 and the Z Flip 3. But we also have a couple of things we're going to just dive in.
Problem because there will still be a 13. When we saw the 6S, we still saw a 7, so it's still going to get to 13, so it doesn't really matter.
They come out from your hands?
And while I didn't really hear this...
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
and then
20,
wash
21. So,
I mean, Apple has skipped 9. They just went straight from...
Exactly.
They did 8 and 10, X, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I have a couple things. You've mentioned before that iOS has a 13, so clearly Apple isn't that worried about it.
13, by the way, for those unfamiliar, is an unlucky number in the US anyway. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a mild superstition type thing. 13 is unlucky. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, there are other Apple products with the number 13 already in the name. I noted that none of them are hardware products.
Yeah. God,
we have iOS 13. I think Joanna Stern also pointed out on Twitter we have a 13-inch MacBook Pro.
I would argue that one's not quite as, but even still, even though it's not hardware, like software being named 13,
not
if they were really that superstitious about it, they would
and don't rinse.
12S also doesn't solve the problem because there would still be a 13. When we saw the 6S, we still saw a 7, so it's still going to get to 13, so it doesn't really matter. And while I didn't really hear this rumor at all, there was an Engadget article that stated nobody's expecting it to be called the iPhone 13 for obvious reasons.
Don't rinse it because that's mad. Throw the garbage. What's the matter with you?
I don't know.
We need a sarcasm, like a sarcasm font or something.
Exactly. But like,
hold like this.
I guess my argument would just be,
don't rinse it and don't try. That's medicine. That's medicine. This is you have to rinse.
And you think that because of the logical reason, which is it is a small upgrade from the 12.
It is a small upgrade with what we're assuming is all the same design. So I know there was argument that the 11 should be called the 11S, but I do think there was enough of a design difference to where you held. I mean, flat edges, sure, but I do think they looked pretty different. Like, there too that you can very easily and distinguishably tell the difference when you're holding them or see them in public, at least without a case on.
Blocking certain groups or sanctioning certain groups and things like that. So it's interesting to see. I wrote up a bit of that, and I'm sure we're going to see even more of that moving forward. I'm not our social media expert, but I do look at like how social media companies are responding to these things, and this seems like yet another test for them. And in a time where they're already like proving themselves not able to handle vaccine misinformation and like the spreading of other extremist content, this seems like a pretty important test for all these social networks. I don't know if do you guys have any thoughts on this?
V, go ahead, because mine's sort of a different note.
Yes, well, mine is too. I think the one thing that I've sort of been struck by, and this is something that we've mentioned in some of our coverage, is that,
V, go ahead, because mine's sort of a different note.
It's remarkably...
It's well done.
Polished,
like they're a well-run organization, which is scary, you know, because they can use these tools. Yeah.
To the point where at least some people believe that there's like a PR firm involved in all of this. I don't know if that's correct. We mentioned that in some of our reporting, but so far we don't know any of the specifics around that. But like, wouldn't it be crazy if some of the same firms that push products to people on social media are the ones kind of implicitly helping this regime kind of expand?
I mean, that's not unusual, right? We've talked about this before, but hey, IBM sold databases to the Nazis. You know, that is a history that is part of that company, and database technology that was used to basically register people. Yeah, it's real. It's the same deal. Yeah.
I was gonna say that I think it's a little bit different to do PR for a company versus sell like databases, but you're both peddling products.
Your product is PR, so yeah.
There's two things I wanted to say really quickly about what V said. Number one, when you say in our reporting we covered this, let's be clear, you mean Washington Post.
I mean, yes.
For a second. Yes.
I do mean Washington Post.
Somebody works for a real newspaper.
Right.
Look,
someone come over early.
It's great. We're all the same.
Yeah. I wasn't really, you're right that they do also seem very polished. My note on this thing that you were talking about, Devendra, is about how all these social media companies have a lot to reckon with right now. Not to equate the two, because I don't think there's similar level of severity or grand scale of, country being torn down. But I think Facebook and Twitter were also recently in the news for being the tech support to Lizzo's trolling issues, which again, as long as celebrities have been on social media, there have been like trolls coming after them. From way back when it was less dog. But yeah, no, Lizzo, recently had a breakdown. I think it was on TikTok or Instagram stories, and there were people coming at her, and then apparently Facebook and Twitter have been good at disabling accounts that will say awful.
They should be. Like this is the responsibility for any platform, because if you make yourself a good social platform that's easily for people to chat with each other, it's easy for people to throw abuse around, and it is your responsibility to stop that.
And I will say that I think Reddit in recent years has taken a turn for the better, where like the communities there feel less toxic. There's better rules. Every subreddit now has its like rules and etiquette guidelines at the top, that sort of thing. It doesn't sound to me like it's necessarily a Reddit first thing where it was from an internal effort, and it sounds more like they just had community managers who, were from the subs themselves who stepped up to be mods and good mods at that. But anyway, there's just a lot of ways I think that social media can approach these things, and it's just important more than ever, like you're saying.
Absolutely. Let's move on to I guess a bit of lighter news. I'm going to talk about CS first, actually, because I want to save the most fun thing for last. But there was news this week that the CS says it's requiring vaccination to attend the 2022 show, which is a thing that is apparently still happening. Do you guys have feelings about this? Because I do have a sense. It is currently August 19th. This show is over 4 months away, and we are looking at a fifth wave of coronavirus going through because of Delta. Who knows what this fall will look like? Who knows what this winter will look like? I don't even know if it'll be safe at all.
even if you say you're going to make people prove vaccination, that doesn't help with flying there. That doesn't help with staying in Vegas and like who knows at your hotel. Like it doesn't solve the big problem. But what do you guys think?
B.
Look, I have my thoughts about vaccines. I think everyone should do it, whatever. It's personal opinion. I cannot imagine a scenario in which the CTA can effectively manage that number of people. Like, you know, with the security at CES, like, unless you have to upload proof.
Easy to fake. If you're submitting a front and back photo of a card, you could buy a fake card and submit it, and nobody would know.
And to Devindra's point too, there's so many off-site events at CES that that would go to and mingle with non-registered attendees. And I mean, for us, let's say you were attending CES.
How long do I have to
imagine
keep
that
this paper towel?
Not all of our events are going to be at the Stro floor or at Sands or whatever, right? Sometimes you have to go to an off-site hotel to be like, oh, they're doing this cool activation dinner thing, or hey, the party at night is going to be at the Brooklyn Bridge Bowl place again. Are you going to not attend those just because they might not be CES attendees only or vaccinated
How long have to keep this paper towel?
And then if you do go, and there's just so happens to be someone there that is sick, then CES is a super spreader event. All it takes is one person.
They were
one unsanctioned event.
They were so lucky that the 2020 CS was not a super spreader.
Oh, really?
It was not super spreader. It was definitely a spreader.
I mean, it's always like a spreading event of some sort of like flu or disease or whatever. I have taken to basically never touching, like never shaking hands. I always wipe my hands. I didn't wear a mask when I used to go to CS, but it seemed like probably we all should have been.
Next year, everybody
but yeah, that's how I
doing
avoided
booster
it.
shots.
There were definitely people who got sick because of last CS. It wasn't like a huge super spreader event for coronavirus. It easily could have been, and it seems like they're just tempting fate now. Like, hey, let's try it again. Yeah.
We'll take bets now whether CES 2022 is still going to go ahead and do the show because
I'm definitely not going to go if it's international. I don't feel like that's even worse.
That's certainly even worse. Like that seems harder to read. I have a feeling they're going to be
Galaxy
about this and do the
S20.
Mobile World Congress where
I'll write down
they do it and like a couple of thousand people go and that's it. There's no news and it's completely unimportant and irrelevant.
Or you can cover everything remote. Yeah.
True.
You were saying.
He's looking at something.
No, I'm not looking at Slack. I was reading the CTA's statement on this whole thing, and it says basically nothing of value. Like, yes, we will require you to prove your vaccine test if you want to go to CES in person, but there is no insight into how that process works. Like, if it's part of registration, great. Tell us that.
Yeah.
The fact that they're not specifically saying anything leads me to believe that A, they possibly haven't figured it out yet, or B, they will default to the potentially easiest and most sort of effectable way to do this, which is to just have guys at the door checking cards and stuff, which I sincerely hope they do not do, but it's the CTA, so literally who knows sometimes.
All right, well, something fun now, then.
Yeah. Something fun. This is you. This is all you.
This thing isn't something Engadget covered, but it happened, I think this week. OnlyFans! Everybody's favorite Patreon alternative, is now kind of making it okay, or making it possible for you to have a nude-free experience. If you're not familiar with OnlyFans,
and to be clear, I am not very familiar with OnlyFans myself.
It's where creators can, offer subscription programs to their content. Often this content is of a lots of.
We're all adults here, Philip. Come on.
I put it on your phone.
It's porn.
Okay.
I
put it on your phone.
Yeah. Or it's according to the CNET article. This is the wording they use is that it's the company infamous for news. So how about we go with that? It's pretty clear people are like posting PG R-rated content on here. But anyhow, OnlyFans is now pushing for a new free experience, and so it seems like anyone can have OnlyFans and not have people expect you to publish nudes.
I almost. Yeah, it sounds like it could be like a Cameo, like competitor, but through live streaming.
Yeah.
Or Patreon. Patreon's a different thing, right? Because it could be like, Patreon, it could be tied to anything, a podcast, any work you do. But it is in that vein, because what is cool about Cameo is that, you pay somebody a couple $100, somebody
you like, usually like a B or C level actor, they send somebody a message, and that's it. It's like it's an easy transaction. I got, what was it, a Mother's Day message for my wife from Brent Spiner.
And that was totally worth it.
That was totally worth it. Absolutely worth it, because she loves him and she loves dating. So, like that sort of thing, there is clear give and take between the fans and what the talent's producing. I'd imagine something similar here for this, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, basically, once OnlyFans becomes PG friendly, you'll see more people on there, I think. And I'm not saying who. Maybe if you all are big fans of Chris Velasco, you should suggest he starts an OnlyFans with no nudes.
I mean, what makes you think I don't already? Can I say
that would just be a one-on-one gag.
Yeah. This is what I was trying to not say or do, considering your reputation.
Only gadget fans. Yeah.
Only gadget fans.
Oh.
Somebody put the URL.
By the domain.
No.
Okay. All right, we're done. All right. I think that's a good cut.
Yep. All right. Let's save ourselves from this discussion. Let's move on to what we've been working on. I'm doing this stuff. I was up really late working on that Facebook thing. I'm also reviewing the Razer Blade 14, which is the new AMD-powered Razer gaming laptop. It is a little smaller than the Blade 15, but I think more capable than the 13-inch stealth Blade Stealth. That's what that one's called. So I'm really interested in seeing how this thing performs. I just need more time to play with it. So I'm looking forward to doing that. I may be reviewing the game 12 minutes, which I've been looking forward to for quite a long time. So it all sounds cool. Sherlyn, are you doing anything beyond dying from phone reviews?
And dying and more dying from phone reviews. So I am currently testing the Z Flip reviews up today, and then I'll have the Watch 4 review up shortly, and then I'll have the Fold review up shortly. So as you can imagine, 3 or 4 reviews or whatever in a week is not great or fun to do, but we'll have them up, and that's what I'm working on. And then also other stuff. IFA is coming up, right? And the usual time frame for IFA, the show that's usually in Germany, is early September, and so the end of August is when we usually start getting briefed, and we start checking out products ahead of time. So that's all. Coming, y'all. Stay tuned for gadget news. Are we asking me what you're working on?
Yeah, what are you working on, Andy?
Actually, you know what? I don't care. Cut.
Okay.
We ran out of time.
Let's do it. What are you working on, Pete?
So I've got some stuff that works. But what to be clear, I did not come on this podcast to plug anything that I'm doing. But what I am currently...
I've enjoyed your pieces, by the way. I've seen some of your explainer pieces, and it's nice, and also... I bet it must feel nice not to be like... doing the Crave review dance like Sherlyn's currently doing.
Oh, you don't think I missed that? You don't think I missed that?
Yeah.
He's offered to help me write reviews like a few times.
Just like as a ghostwriter, because...
I gotta keep those skills. But what I am interested in is if anyone watching or listening happens to be a T-Mobile customer and they think they might be affected by the T-Mobile data breach, I'd love to hear what your experiences are. T-Mobile so far has not really talked about the full scope. They've offered some information about what kind of data was leaked and possibly how many people that affected, but there's still a lot of unclear factors there. So if you've heard from T-Mobile, or if you have experiences about trying to change your password, I've heard from some people that is not a thing you're able to do online. Some people are being routed to go to stores to do it, which I'm trying to confirm. Anyway, if you've got a T-Mobile story, I'd love to hear it. Chris.velasco@watchthose.com.
I guess I'll email you.
Yeah, you can send me all sorts of messages. So.
Yeah, just send Velasco fields, like whatever, it's fine.
All right, let's move on to our pop culture picks. Shrillin, I know you're very excited to talk about.
Oh my gosh, you all! I saw Shang-Chi, or Shang-Chi, for people who need to see it phonetically or something in your head. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, at a press preview. I can't talk, I don't think too much, but I can say that I watched it, I enjoyed it.
I think the reviews are up, aren't they?
There is a different embargo that I got for later in the month. But I will say this: I have a lot of thoughts about it that aren't tech related, but who cares? You're not always here for tech only. Great action scenes, very good action scenes, and I say this as someone who grew up with consuming Asian cinema.
Love it.
Predominantly, so good. I was blown away from the start. I have a few thoughts on why can't we find other Asian actresses in the world anymore. Because Awkwafina's not the only one. She's great. I like her a lot. Excellent comedian. And you know, go ride that wave of fame and popularity while you can, of course.
For sure. This is what happens in Hollywood. Like some people break out, and then there's just cast and everything. And
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of not. I've seen her in the last 7, Asian-heavy films. I'm good. Michelle Yeoh, same thing. You know, like she's the de facto older Asian woman in most things.
But she's really like cast, like in Star Trek Discovery.
She was also in Guardians, by the way, in case you don't realize. So this is kind of weird that she's showing up here. Like double character in the MCU, great. But no, she kicks ass. Her and Ming-Na Wen, two of my favorites. But again, there's more. But also the last act of the show gets a little wonky. But y'all, I'm not gonna spoil too much for you. Tony Leung. Oh my God, Tony Leung. So good.
The best. Yes.
The best. And finally, it was very gratifying as an Asian person who's bilingual. Actually, quadrilingual? Anyway, lots of lingual.
Wow.
To watch this and everyone speaking the different languages, more or less is pronouncing everything correctly. Like,
great.
Long, every time I watch a show where someone's supposedly fluent in Chinese does not speak proper. They speak Chinese like Chris Velasco speaks Chinese, basically. Which is, do you want to show off to people how you sound like when you speak Chinese?
你想喝一点东西吗?
And the actual pronunciation which should be 你想喝一点东西吗? Like, I'm on the extreme end of pronouncing it correctly right now because I did the Chinese accent thing too. But imagine my pain when I'm watching a movie and I know how I should go. It's like if y'all watch a Korean movie or other foreign language movie, and the one person who supposedly like grew up in America goes like, how are you? Very fluent in English now, thanks. And it's just like it's not just an accent thing. Anyway, Marvel. It took Marvel. Stop it, video team. It took Marvel to be the one to make something that I felt was satisfying on that front. It was so strange. And then everyone spoke Chinese to each other when there was no other English-speaking person in the room, which also so important. Why do you have to speak English?
I don't want to give Marvel too much credit. Let's wind this back a little. You're way beyond.
Well, I did change my mind midway through. I will say I did change my mind on that midway through, but I don't want to go too much into that on our podcast. You can always invite me to your film podcast.
Exactly. We are way beyond the third. What are we now? Like the 25th MCU movie? Like we are in the next wave, like the fourth wave of MCU. They gave us Wonderful. What was the Netflix show with the white dude? Do not forget about Iron Fist.
Don't forget Tilda Swinton, who I love, but you should not
Sure.
Doctor
They
Strange.
were really dumb to do that. Anyway, I'm glad Shang-Chi did well for you, Dylan. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hear the choreography is good. I love this cast. The director, Destin Daniel Cretton, who did Short Term 12, which is an incredible indie movie. I I don't think anybody like many people don't realize he's an Asian American filmmaker and he's doing some incredible work these days. So I didn't like his last movie. He did actually two, Just Mercy and The Last Castle. But Short Term 12 is an incredible film. You will not be able to watch that without crying. As for me, I just want to shout out The Green Knight, a movie I've talked about before, directed by David Lowery. It stars Dev Patel, not Dave Patel. Dev Patel. It's sort of like him in Arthurian legend, where he is a young knight out to prove himself, basically on a quest to prove his masculinity and prove his heroism. I love like a good Arthurian legend that's told really well. I don't think it's done. It hasn't been done really well in movies aside from Excalibur, a movie I absolutely adore. And I think this movie is fantastic. And I'm shouting it out now because it is streaming on video on demand as of today. So you can rent it, you can buy it. You don't have to go to the theater. I saw it in the theater though, and it was incredible to see this thing on the big screen. So it is a wonderful slow burn of a fantasy film. It is not like. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's not like a super straightforward thing, but I think it's beautiful. I think everybody should see it. So check out The Green Knight. That is my pick. Anything you've been checking out? Do you want to shout out?
Nothing new. I live in the past, like many people do.
Good.
That is kind of quite handy. So what's been just sort of like sustaining me for a while now is a rewatch of Star Trek: Next Generation. And last night I watched. I forget what the episode was called, but it's the episode where Captain Picard is just forced by his crew to take a vacation on the pleasure planet Risa. And he's immediately kissed by a woman when he gets there and gets sucked into this world of intrigue. And apparently this whole episode came about because Patrick Stewart, who was dating the actress portraying the woman that he had as romantic ideas and was on the planet, said that Captain Picard should do more effing and fighting and fornicating, according to, I believe, producer Ira Stephen Bear.
I mean, look, he's right.
Exactly. So if you want to watch a man of indeterminate age being really grumpy that he can't read a book, but then get sucked into a time-traveling, whirling plot of intrigue, go watch that episode.
That's a good episode. And if you want to see a really young Patrick Stewart who's still like bald and everything, he's in Excalibur as one of the knights they have to help. So everybody's in that movie. That movie's incredible. I love Excalibur. Go watch it, people. I think that's it, folks. Let's bring it in for Landon Sherlin.
Well, that's it for our episode this week, everyone. Thank you as always for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. The podcast is produced by Ben Elman. You can find the Vindra online
at the Vindra on Twitter and also at the Filmcast podcast at thefilmcast.com.
You can find Chris Velasco at his Washington Post email address, chris.velasco@washpost.com. But also, where else online can people find you?
You can find me at Chris Velasco on Twitter.com.
Wow. If you have suggestions for Asian actresses that should be in more Hollywood films, please send them to me on Twitter at Sherlyn Lowe, indeed. So we're taking next week off from the live stream, so please use that time to email us questions about the new phone season or anything else gadget-related at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review on iTunes, please, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts. And subscribe on anything that gets podcasts, including Spotify.
Okay, we're clear. And there are just a couple of questions that I want to get to. So, I don't know if Tim, what is his name? Tim Longson has stuck around, but he was asking just around like the end of our last Q&A section, do any phones have the disabled battery charging option? So you can use the phone while plugged in to game, for example, for long periods with charging turned off so it doesn't wear on the battery.
That's a good... I've never seen that.
That's a very good question. Yeah. I want that to exist and everything, but I don't know if any phone I've ever tested that's ever had that.
It's a shame. That is a good idea, though. I wish I could, like, enable that.
Now, would that put more wear on the battery if you just have it plugged in for a long time like that?
If you could bypass the battery and just, like, have... Like, that's the thing. It would require, like, two separate power systems, maybe, because I think the way it works now is, like, just everything goes through the battery, and it's easy to just, like, engineer that. It could be interesting. I think that's more like when even the Nintendo Switch, like when you put it in the dock, it is still like charging. So what phones do now typically is like there's intelligent charging. You know, if you stick your phone into your charger overnight, it's not going to charge it up all the way. Like it's gonna like look like when you typically get up, and it'll do the bulk of that charging closer to the morning, like as you're getting up. So there are ways they're getting around it.
Do you know if it still does that intelligent charging if the phone is off?
I don't think it can. I'm not sure. That's a good question.
I'm not sure if it does.
Phones are never fully off because
I was going to say, a lot of people don't charge their phones when they're off anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
That is a weird thing that I do. I will turn my phone just completely off. Like I turn my phone off at night.
Don't do that. You don't need to do that.
I don't need to do that, but I do.
I guess
I'm going to bed, my phone's going to bed.
You get a fresh OS like when you wake up, basically. So that's something.
Well, yeah, and that's what I've found because over the last few years, like using my phone, sometimes I will charge it with the charge it on, and then I'll use it for a couple of days, just because like I'm out or on. Out and about or something, I'm not doing my usual rituals like as if I was at home. And I will notice that the battery actually drains faster if I've had the phone on for a couple of days versus my usual ritual of turning the phone off.
It's a good strategy.
Turning it on. So another question from Jiffer is specifically about these things. I don't know how much you can talk about. An active investigation from not the New York Times, the Washington Post.
The other one.
An active investigation from the Washington Post, but Jiffer asks, they have a question, T-Mobile sub-networks like Mint Mobile,
would they be affected?
So as far as anyone is aware right now, because T-Mobile has not said anything publicly, they have not answered any questions that didn't come up in either of the two releases they've issued so far. From what we understand, MVNOs like Mint, I think Simple Mobile might also use T-Mobile, but any sort of sub-carrier brand that pays for access to T-Mobile's network, we don't believe those are affected. Right now it looks like it's just people, I say just, but it's still a lot of people. It's about 7.8 million people currently who have postpaid accounts, which means you get a bill at the end of each month. About 40 million people who applied for credit with T-Mobile at some point, presumably because they wanted to become one of those postpaid customers, and 850,000 prepaid account owners who are sort of affected by this. Now, the one thing to point out, it takes a bit to unpack because the initial reports about all this, which Motherboard published, I believe, on Sunday, they suggested that the hackers had obtained about 100 million records, which is basically twice as much as T-Mobile has admitted to so far. And they also said at the time that data dump could also include really sort of identifiable device information, like IABIs. And T-Mobile has not really addressed either of those. So if you're a Simple Mobile, if you're a Mint customer, you're probably fine, but do your best to stay on top of all of the news coming out of this, because that investigation that T-Mobile's doing is moving pretty fast.
Wow. Okay. So that's what they do when you go to work for the Washington Post.
Shut up, man!
Make you just do big data dumps.
It's great.
So very professional and on the ball.
So I think that we're, unless there are any last minute questions, chat, this is your last couple of minutes to say something.
While we wait for that, I just wanted to just do my usual shout-out thing to people. Mark Dell, our first the regulars, Mark Dell, D-Man, ACDC, Wilso, Jedi Mind Trick on You. I remember seeing Neutron Stars as a newish name, but becoming quickly regular. Drew Karmaker is here too. It's good to see you all. Jonathan Anderson, if I haven't shouted you out, we see you. It's so nice to see all of you, coming back. But we also appreciate the people who are new or newish to our community who are coming back. Like I said, Neutron Star. We got Tim. You mentioned just now.
Seeing Jiffer and Gabriel more often.
Gabriel definitely. Seeing more often today. We got Tanmay Shirsaf, I think. Nick Summers. Who is also former Engadget, like V, Trader V. Often today we got Tanmay Shirsaf, I think. Nick Summers, who is also former Engadget, like V, Trader V.
Okay. You can't call him that. You can call me Trader V all you want, but you can't call him Trader V.
I'm not going to do that. Nick is.
Wait, actually, no, that's the next photo.
You don't have to do that, Mark. Okay. If you want to, fine, but you don't have to do that.
Hi also to Subku, who was SOBKOU, who was also active in the chat today. We appreciate all of you coming to, hang out with us. Again, I know some of you are disappointed that we won't have a live stream next week, but we're taking a break.
Or an episode.
Yeah, no episode, no live stream. And
unless something big happens, I'll just put something together. But yeah, most likely.
Exactly. But we email us if you want to. Also, when you email us, we will probably follow up. But if you want to stay ahead of time, whether we can use your question and your name and your preferred pronouns, in our show later on. So it saves us a little bit of time on the back and forth.
Yeah, we got a really interesting email from someone who works at a post office in Alaska, and we're going to be talking way more about that in a future episode, but we've got way too much phone stuff to talk about for the next couple of weeks.
So many phones. Yeah.
Hi to CF540, who's new and has not seen any of our live casts.
Yeah, welcome,
they're fun.
Yeah, hit rewind if you're missing it.
Yeah,
we're wrapping up now.
Yeah, we're wrapping up now, but it's always easy to hit rewind on stuff.
Go down your timeline, and do you actually hit rewind anymore?
You can't dekind rewind, but you can just press back on the timeline, whatever it is. So I think we're just about done for today. Thanks everybody. This stream comes to you via our video team, which is led by Kyle Mock with Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. But again, it's powered by everyone in the chat. You're the one who makes it fun. You just shout out interesting questions that we wouldn't have thought to think about or wouldn't have thought to talk about otherwise. And so if you've stuck around this long, you know about gadgets, you know about algorithms. Rate the show 5 stars on iTunes. It's an easy way to help other people find us, and it helps the show go. It's so silly that this is still the standard, but it is the standard. Just rate us 5 stars. It would be really appreciated, and we'll see you not next week, but the week after.
Thanks, y'all.
Later.
Bye.
Kelvin, back again, four months later, third time this year. I mean, you don't mess around. What's the feel like for you right now?
Yeah, no, feels very comfortable right now, for sure.
Walk number 20, I think you posted the other day, right? I mean, does it feel like a milestone for you?
Yeah, it kind of does. You know, walk number 20, not a lot of people get here, and man, I want to do 20 more. You know, so hopefully we get through this one, and you know, we start something new after this.
Very nice. Obviously, not the original matchup, but what made you put your hand in the air and said, get me in there with another absolute killer in the division, right?
Yeah, I felt, this time they gave me 10 weeks or 9 weeks. So I said, why not? Let's actually get some real time to prepare for a good fight, for a top 5 fight. And that's exactly what we got, and thankfully we got it. And yeah, man, this is by far one of the best camps that I've had in I don't know if I want to say my career or my in a few years. I don't know. But honestly, it feels great. The preparation that we had for this camp was just unlike any other camp that I've had, and that's where my confidence lies right now. The confidence lies in the preparation that led up to this fight. I did a couple different things. I went out and trained with Henry a couple times for a few weeks. And I got to pick his brain, We get to spend a lot of time and hang out all the time, yeah, but times where we actually get to sit down and I get to pick his brain in the way that we did then, I don't do it too many times, and I got to pick his brain. I got to learn from him, and he got to show me how he structures his training, and, this guy's a winner, behind the Triple C facade. There's a really intelligent competitor.
That's awesome. What's the biggest things you take out of him? I mean, are we talking about techniques in the cage? Are we talking about like mentality or physical things? What is it that you take out of him the biggest?
It was a lot of things. It was not only just techniques, but also mentalities, and also how to structure a training camp and how he does it and the best way to go about it. And so I tried and applied it to my team, and I brought my people in. And I'm telling you right now, this is by far one of the best camps that I've had. No one, in my opinion, has faced this version of Kelvin Gastelum, and I'm excited to showcase it on Saturday.
You've always taken on the biggest challenges since you stepped into the UFC. I mean, does anybody ever pull you aside? You've been around long enough. We could probably ask for somebody a little further down the rankings. Maybe we take I don't want to say an easy fight, but an easier fight.
No, not yet. So far, my team and myself, we still believe that we belong at the top, and we still believe we can take these fights and win these fights. And so far, that's why we're here.
Very nice. You talked about the importance of having a full camp, though. Do you feel like that's kind of the method going forward? Is maybe we don't jump on these last second ones. Maybe we give ourselves full preparation.
Right. That was another thing. The time to prepare for it was just night and day. Given 9 weeks to rather than 3 weeks is a world of a difference. And so, yeah, we'll definitely think about next time taking these short notice fights.
Nice. As you said, you faced the best. What do you think about Jared? I mean, is he one of the best, and what do you think about him as an opponent?
Yeah, he's a very strong fighter, a very strong-willed fighter, a very good fighter, but at the same time, I've been fighting for a long time. We know what he brings to the table. I've seen what he brings to the table, and I've experienced it in the cage as well. And so we believe we have answers for everything he may bring.
Very nice. Last thing for me, this would be a big win. Like I said, main event, top contender. I mean, you're right back in the mix, right? So where do you go with a win here? I mean, are you looking to fight again by the end of the year? You want to take some time? I mean, are you looking at names? What's the move going forward after a big win here?
We'll see. My concentration right now is on Jared. There's a lot of options that can be laid out after the win, but right now the concentration is 100% on Jared.
Hey, Kelvin. You mentioned that you don't feel like anyone's faced this Kelvin Gastelum. I'm wondering, is that because of the technical adjustments you've made in training or mental adjustments you've made?
I'd say it's everything. It's a combination of everything: mental, technical, just overall everything. I feel like we structured my camp in a way where I haven't before. My coaches and I communicated in a way that we haven't before, and I've performed in my trainings because of this structure like I have never before. So we're feeling pretty good.
Is that just like an organization thing, that there's more structure, or is that just something else?
Yeah, I think more of an organization thing. I think it's more of a structure thing. Whereas before there was some of it, but not as structured, not as organized as I had it this time. Most of the time where you see me fighting is fighting off instinct. You know, obviously we strategize for different opponents and different techniques that one may bring, but most of the time.
Sure, good to see. It's been 10 months to get back here. I guess talk about the time away, kind of what it's been like and what the focus has been like for you.
Recovery. You know, I injured myself. I got injured in the last fight. The first attempt at surgery didn't take. It was declared a non-union. So,
the time to prepare for.
What's the move going forward after a big win here?
We'll see. My concentration right now is on Jared. There's a lot of options. Is fighting off instinct. You know, obviously we strategize for different opponents and different techniques that one may bring, but most of the time I'm fighting off instinct rather than having an actual goal and having an actual plan.
When you look at Jared and you talk about hard hitters in your division, where does he rank in terms of who hits the hardest?
I'm sorry?
Where does Jared rank in terms of power, how hard he hits compared to the other people in the division?
Well, we'll see on Saturday. You know, I haven't felt it, and I expect to feel it on Saturday for sure.
Just last thing for me, could you give us a prediction on the Darren Till, Derek Brunson fight? How you see that one playing out?
You know what? I see Derek being a very tough, strong fight for Darren. I'm sorry, the other way around. Derek Brunson being a very hard and strong fight for Darren Till. I don't know how Darren Till would win that, other than maybe by knockout. But I feel like maybe Derek can probably take this. Derek Brunson, sorry.
The Dan.
Yeah.
Brunson Till.
Brunson Till, right?
Thank you, man.
Cool. Thanks.
Sure, good to see. It's been 10 months to get back here. I guess talk about the time away, kind of what it's been like and what the focus has been like for you.
Recovery. You know, I injured myself. I got injured in the last fight. The first attempt at surgery didn't take. It was declared a non-union. So we had to do the surgery again with some added medical wizardry magic stuff. I did a bone graft, gave me a bone stimulator to help with the thing. So, you know, just focusing on recovering, focusing on not getting too far out of shape. And with the help of the physical therapist, you know, implementing a strength and conditioning regimen at the same time as recovering the arm, it was great. So it was fun. It was another step in the journey, if you will, as opposed to a hitch in the wheels or a step back or anything like that.
Yeah. Was it concerning at all, right? I mean, you're a professional athlete. Your body is your product. And they say, hey, by the way, this thing ain't healing right. Does that get a little bit scary?
It absolutely was. It wasn't fun to go and see the x-rays and see that the bone wasn't quite healing as fast as I thought, you know, but I'm not a professional. It's my first time experiencing or seeing anything like that. I trusted my doctors, you know, my surgeon showed a little concern, but, you know, he had to do his job to keep me from, you know, flipping out and doing anything crazy, so. But, you know, he didn't sit on it too long. Usually they wait a whole 6 months till they make that declaration, but he saw that we don't want to. He knew that I didn't want to take that chance. So I was like, do the surgery, let's get it going. He's like, okay, let's go. And we did it, and it took this time. The arm feels great. And I'm ready to get back to work.
Very nice. Did you find yourself, as you're resuming training, that sort of stuff, was it a psychological issue at all to worry about the arm? I mean, was that a hurdle you had to get over?
It is, in a certain regard, but not inhibiting to my performance, because we all took a conservative approach to recovery. I'm not going to go in too hard, too fast. I've seen guys re-break their injuries. Gronk is a very prominent one who we've seen come back from the injury and then re-injure it. So I didn't want that to happen to me. So conservative approach, do it smart, and I trust myself. I know what feels right, what doesn't feel right, or anything like that. So throughout the process, when I started grappling, the arm was ready to start grappling. When I started striking, the arm was ready for me to start striking. So I was able to go into it with confidence, feel it out at first, but it didn't take long to break through those cobwebs and get back to it.
Very nice. So you put in the work, you're back, main event. Not the original opponent we were looking at, right? But luckily it wasn't like a last-minute switch or anything. But what did you think about the change? Did it affect anything for you?
Well, all the other top-ranked opponents were all booked. So Kelvin was the lone standout, if you will, of what's the word? Of fighters that I would say yes to. If they would have given me somebody with no number next to their name, that would have been a waste of my time. Not necessarily because I like to fight, and I'll fight anybody, but as far as my career goes, that's not the one that I want. So Kevin isn't ideal given the position. I want to contend this fight. I want to fight for the title. But in a sense, Kevin is ideal because I respect him a lot. You know what I'm saying? I understand who he is and what he's done. From his performances, I can see the things that he's capable of. And I just know the sport. I know the game. We know how fights go. So I can see what Kelvin has brought in his last fights. And I'm well aware of the danger he presents in there. We're all aware of his standing as far as being a fighter, MMA. The number 9 next to his name is the fact that there's a number there is good. You know what I'm saying? It's sort of like the same position I was in when I fought Hermanson. He was ranked number 3, I was ranked number 9. So it's kind of like the exact same thing. But we're going to have a different ending.
So. He's, as you said, Kelvin's, his reputation is out there, right? I mean, he's been in some battles, like, maybe not necessarily smart to get in a brawl like that, but is there any part of you that wants to have that type of fight? I mean, a fight of the year type contender that people are just like, oh my God, that was amazing.
I mean, if all we consider as fight of the year are brawls where both guys are coming out bloody and damn near broken and, lost a couple of years off the career, then I don't want those guys judging my fights. Those aren't the ones that I want. Those aren't the credentials that I want. So those guys judging my fights, those aren't the ones that both guys are coming out bloody and damn near broken and, lost a couple of years off the career, then I don't want those guys judging my fights. Those aren't the ones that I want. Those aren't the credentials that I want. So for me, I consider myself an intelligent striker. And I want to go out there and an intelligent fighter. Not just an intelligent striker, but an intelligent fighter as well. I'm an intelligent person in general. But I apply my intelligence to fighting. And I see what's what. And when I get in there, I'm going to try to see as fast as possible what's what, make my adjustments, and try to capitalize instantly.
Nice. Last thing for me, you talked about it, man. You want to fight for the title, man. You had a ton of momentum behind you, the setback, but now you're here again. So what do you think? I mean, do you feel like you're starting again and got to build your way up, or do you feel like, hey, I can pick up that momentum I was on right back? One good performance, and I get to talk about titles again.
As far as my energy goes, I'm picking up right where I left off. I'm a better fighter than I was back then. Even going through the injuries, I've gotten better. And no, I didn't take any steps back. No. Losing that fight to Robert, the way that I lost it, I'm not going to take any steps. Can't nobody take anything away from me with that. So, luckily, the people who book the fights, cut the checks, they see that as well. So I'm glad we got competent people running the show and not the guys who want to see bloody ball out brawls and stuff like that, But, that's entertaining as well. Who knows? I mean, I can throw down too. Don't get me wrong. And if I get in there and start brawling, it's going to be like a nuclear fault war or something like that, right? Because I'm be throwing bombs. But no, I want to have an intelligent approach as always. Nothing different, an even better, a more intelligent approach, if you will.
Hey, Jared. You just mentioned that you throw bombs in there. I'm curious, where do you think you rank in your division in terms of who hits the hardest?
Who hits the hardest? Who hits the hardest? To be honest, I don't really think it matters who hits the hardest. It's a matter of who hits hard enough. And all of us can do it hard enough. The question should be who can do it the most efficiently, and without getting hit at all. And that's me.
You mentioned about the Rob fight. When it comes to fighting for the title, is there a preference? Would you rather fight him to get that rematch, or to fight Israel to try and beat Israel and knock him off the top?
Whoever's got the belt. The fact that it's Izzy right now, that's who I'm aiming at. If Robert gets the win, if Robert gets the title, then that's who I'm aiming at. The fact that he beat me back in October is not gonna factor into it or anything. I'm not like vengeful or anything like that. I'm not salty that he won. So he didn't really beat me. The judges did. So he just broke my arm, landed some nice shots. Survived.
It's funny to hear you say he didn't beat me. He just broke my arm. That's kind of funny here.
No, it's dead serious. It's the truth.
I'm curious.
Time ran out, and the judges declared him the winner.
I'm curious who you have winning in the Darren Till, Derek Brunson fight.
I don't pick fights. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but I don't like picking fights. I can break it down, but that would take a while. I don't favor any of them in any way. They both have the skills to make it happen. Derek can grapple with the best of them. We've seen Darren defend grapplers' advances. They're both good at striking. They both have their styles, you know what I'm saying? So you have 1 + 1, let's see what we get. Let's see what that equation, what that equates out to.
Thank you.